Hello. So it's been brought to my attention that a former video of mine was a bit difficult to read what I was going through. So I'm going to circle back, make this video a bit more clear to see and hopefully understand. We're going to go through ggplot2, making a grouped box plot with pairwise comparisons. If you're very much new to R, I would suggest downloading the following packages: dplyr, tidyr, permute, lattice, vegan, govig, ggplot2, which we're using today, the tidyverse, nlme, ordinal, ggsignif, ggpubr, multicompview, ggthemes, and patchwork. Mind you, we are really only focusing on ggplot2 today. But if you are an ecologist or natural scientist, I find most of these packages to be quite beneficial and good to have in your back pocket at all times. So once you've installed those packages, make sure you load them with the library function. And then you should be able to continue on to the tutorial. Okay. So you will need to use the ggplot2 package as I just stated. And I'm going to zoom in to ensure that not only this is more of a clear video, but it is also easy to read. RM list equals LS removes your data from this field. If you've been working in the same markdown, it can be helpful to do this to empty your environment. Please note that this will cause you to have to reload not packages, but your data sheets into R. So today we're going to look at phenotypic results of a former study of mine, and we're going to name it dry. We're going to read CSV, and this is the direct path to said file. If you have your own data, this is how you would load it in. Note, you will need to make backslashes, forward slashes for this to work. So what does this look like? We have portion of the plant above ground and below ground. We have the accession, which are from 4 different locales. We have the treatment with and without fertilizer, height, weight, dry weight, moisture, water use efficiency, and so on. And now we're going to make our grouped box plot. Please know that this is going to be a progression of a group box plot. And much like Shrek in my former video, I'm telling you that ggplot has layers, so we're going to do this progressively. So you're going to put ggplot, data equals dry, or whatever you've named your data set. The aesthetic, you're going to set your X and Y on the graph. So we're going to look at accession and average dry weight. Now, if you want to fill those box plots with a color, you're going to say fill equals treatment. This is going to randomly assign colors until you distinguish what color package you want to use. So fill treatment. Plus, now you're going to distinguish that you want a box plot. So in ggplot, there are geomes. And multiple geomes, such as a bar plot, a line plot, scatter plot, etc., will pop up. But you want to make a box plot today. So you're going to tell it Geomboxplot. Accession, aesthetics, X equals accession, Y equals average dry weight, and fill equals treatment. Please know R is case sensitive. So if you have something capitalized in a column, it must be capitalized in your script. Moving on from Geomboxplot and those distinguished features, you can finally add the color theme. So scale, color, viridis. I choose this because it's colorblind friendly. And then I don't like grid lines on my figures, so Theme Classic removes those, so you'll just have a blank background. That way you are able to see your figure and box plot a bit more cleanly. It seems that I need to load ggplot myself. If you are re-entering R after it's been closed for a while, I would suggest you go to your library chunk and reload all packages. There we go, easy fix. So we're gonna make our grouped box plot, and we can see accession, treatment is our color and our fill. So it's gonna create the legend here, and we can see that our y-axis is average dry weight. So we can look at the comparison of our accessions with and without fertilizer, or whatever comparison you are making. And we're looking at its average dry weight for growth. Okay. Now you want to know if there are any significant differences between your treatments and with average dry weight, or whatever you happen to be measuring. This is often done with an ANOVA or with other, that's what we're going to be using today. Same formula as before, ggplot, your data, accession, dry weight, fill is the treatment. You're doing the box plot again. This looks just the same. We are only adding this final line to this one at least. So stack compare means will compare the means of your box plots, and you can choose the method to tell it what statistical measure you want to use. In this instance, we're looking at it from an ANOVA standpoint, an analysis of variance. So if we run this line, I see. We're running into another brief error. Again, this comes down to needing other functions of other packages in there. Yes, we're primarily using ggplot, but it is necessary to load other background packages with the library function in order to successfully run our script. So this is an active example of why you need to load those packages that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. If we run this again, it works. Stack compare means, we're going to have our box plot, and it's going to show the ANOVA over each accession. I'm going to zoom out briefly so we can see this a bit better. Accession, treatment by color, and average dry weight. Now this is looking at whether you have a significant difference within your accession between the treatments. This is not a comparison between Afghanistan and China, India, or Viridis. This is purely looking within that singular accession or whatever you are comparing. And we can see that none of them are that statistically significant from each other. This appears to be the case, but as we can see in our analysis of variance, our P is not below 0.5 or 0.05, excuse me. But what if you want to compare Afghanistan to China, Afghanistan to India, and so on? You need to make a comparison list. So you're going to make a list of these comparisons within the new name. We're naming it My Comparisons. List is a function, and you need the C to kind of give it that comparison opportunity, if you will. Sorry if I'm not being super articulate. So C, parentheses, and in quotations, you're going to make the comparisons as such. So whatever two things you're trying to compare, you need to put that in this function. So it's going to make this list of comparisons, and it's going to shove it into a new variable that we are calling My Comparisons. As you can see, we have a list of our comparisons here, and it pops up in your environment. Now, if we want to add those comparisons into our ggplot and our box plot, we're going to have the same function all the way down to stack compare means. Method is ANOVA. This looks exactly the same as before. And I'm putting label y equals 750. So this is just placing the ANOVA value on an XY coordinate. You can move it to fit what you need. So this is a number that you'll play around with. This is not the number that'll necessarily work for you. You need to look at the scale of your axes and decide where on the y-axis you want that ANOVA to appear. So stack compare means we're doing an ANOVA. We're putting that ANOVA value at this y location. Then we're going to add another layer. Stack compare means comparisons equals my comparisons, and the method we're doing a t-test. We run that, we can see below our ANOVA values are up here, looking at within treatment, and we have a t-test comparing our accessions to each other as we described above. Afghanistan to China here, Afghanistan to India here, and Afghanistan to Viridis here. For clean figures, it may be best to simply create an ANOVA table to exhibit statistical comparisons. Doing so, you use ANOVA, linear model, average dry weight by accession, and your comparison is by treatment, and your data is dry. Please note when you do a linear model, the formula is Y by X, hence average dry weight by accession, and it is compounding it based on treatment. You can see here, it'll give you an ANOVA table with the statistical values that will enhance and further support the plot you just made. Okay, so I hope this is a bit more clear visually and through sense of understanding how you can create a ggplot box plot with a pairwise comparison. Play around with your own data and let me know if you have any further questions.